Hello, welcome. In this video, I'm going to be outlining my trades from both April 15th as well as April 16th, and also just going over some personal thoughts and things that I need to work on and change in my day-to-day life towards the end. Again, this is the sort of video that's just me kind of talking to myself about whatever thoughts I've got going on regarding my life and trading and just sort of piggybacking off that in a more personal kind of stream of consciousness. So, yeah, that's going to be the gist of it. Um, Starting off here on April 15th, this is something that I've got to organize my thoughts a bit here because I'm seeing patterns with losses on, not just these 2 days, as well as patterns with winners, but not just these 2 days, but my trading in general. And that's going back to paying attention to where the supports and resistances are on the chart. So like in this area, we come to the market and it's a clear range at this point. There is this sort of support here, this red box that I'm watching out for. And I've noted this teal controlled buying here, which is really nice. I avoided this entry in part. I think I saw something on Bookmap as well as we were coming right up to this value area low. This yellow algo I drew, and this would have been this close above. We never continued above it, but that could have been a pretty bad long entry if I took that. Um, I think a reason for me avoiding that as well from a structural perspective was I yeah, I'm not sure honestly. This just felt like more of a retracement, especially with this down move. I thought that we were more likely to break low of day before high of day. And this felt a little cleaner to me with the head, left shoulder, right shoulder. Um, and yeah, if we had broken out and then retraced and then moved higher, forming like this right shoulder, head, left shoulder, that could have been a little cleaner. But yeah, I managed to stay out. Then this was the second break of this teal algo. We had broken here and here, but this one finally formed what was sufficient structure because if I shorted here, again, stop would have to be here. So I shorted here when we broke back down of the teal, and I also could have waited for here, which was the second break of this teal, but I ended up entering here with a stop right above that right shoulder. And I got my 1.5, which I think I took a little sooner than I should have, but also managed to grab a runner here since I was sized up a bit due to how the volatility had dropped quite a bit. So I was able to take more contracts than I had been previously, like last week. On this trade, this was the rejection of my yellow channel here. So I had been drawing these and experimenting with them, and I'm happy I was able to take this trade. You can see the yellow holding here, here, sorry, and here. We break down, that stops out all of these buyers, and then we come back and we retest it, and then we trade lower. And when we break back down, that was my short entry. And we had also broken and retested the value area low of the profile. But yeah, like general context of the day, we were still within this range, so I wasn't really gunning hard for shorts. I ended up having that same yellow channel here, as well as this white, which had been built from there and here, like so. Posted it up to the top, and we had been rejecting it right here. So this could have been a potential head, left shoulder entry, shorting here with the stop above the head. However, this just didn't feel quite right to me. We were at some support levels that I was watching, so I wanted to wait for a bit more structure, which we did eventually get here with this right shoulder forming and retesting that with this large wick resistance. However, I was kind of wrestling myself with this. I was thinking about getting in long, but again, there was no real like retracement gathering here, right? And even with this, we did close above, but we did not break higher. So there was no reason for me to be longing there. But then I missed this short, even though I was kind of wrestling myself like, oh yeah, do I take that? I mean, it's at my yellow resistance. And seeing this go down, it did frustrate me a little bit. I wasn't too happy about that, but uh, the issue with that then is, it's okay to miss a setup, not take a trade, but what's not okay is to really let that negatively affect you and dictate what you're going to do on your next move. And my next move was just kind of rushing into this long here on this really, tight green channel here that I had drawn. And this could have been a continuation short, that we failed to break out of this green channel, right here. And I would just short lower. But, this is a tighter algo. You need to be waiting for at least the white and the yellow to be reclaimed before you long. But this was just me kind of rushing into a trade and wanting to get involved because I had missed that previous setup. So not a good trade. And right as I took that long, we ended up forming that beautiful, head. And this would have been a great structure to short, right? There's your left shoulder. You reject the channel and you can, aim for that move lower. Then I had watched this. I was looking for the closing continuation of this white and yellow. Here we had the close above white and we continued higher. However, this did not align with the close above yellow. I feel like I should just kind of, like in the future, this is a more legit algo, this white one, right? If you post that up here. And we had actually claimed that as support. You can see right there, and formed this little micro head, inverse head and shoulder. So this was like a change, right? From it's just resistance here, resistance again right here. But I ended up just kind of leaving that there, and it was I ended up just waiting for the close above yellow. And that got me in a little too late with the stop too wide, and the target was too far away for this. The breakout didn't have energy because in part, we should be targeting this level. This is going to be my resistance, right? That is where the cup closes, and that's where I should be exiting my trade. I think at this level too, right? This was the coming up to here. We rejected like right at the value area low as well. Like this should be my target. And this value area low also aligned with the completion of this cup, right? Like so. So that was not a good trade on my end. Both from the perspective, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was more so from the perspective of like, if I need to be entering here, this gives me better R if I'm targeting the highs. This should be my target. This is where I know sellers are going to come in. And clearly they did come in, and I should have been exiting break even when they started coming in aggressively like that. And you'll see that I had something similar on the 16th, where I have this breakout trade right into some sort of major support or resistance. The breakout fails, and you have this large rejection bar with the wick on top, and I should have just been exiting break even when I see that rather than letting it go and hit my stop, even though this was an adjusted stop. But yeah, I feel like this should have been sufficient confirmation for me. Waiting for that yellow close was a little too much in the sense that it gave me really much worse R, and I should have just been exiting. But yeah, that's the idea with that. I need to iron that out in terms of seeing these breakouts, seeing them failing, and if they're failing, just aggressively move that stop, get out break even, doesn't matter, and you can always reposition rather than letting it trail around and chop like it did here. Yeah, so that was that. I think yesterday was okay. I'm not particularly happy or sad with that day. I just feel like it was something where I wasn't as prepared, as focused as I could have been. Some small things like with this R that I could have managed better. Like when we held this white channel here. And I know that I have to watch out for this value area low as well as this cup close. So things like that. And also this trade emotional. These two were solid and right with like what I was looking for. But yeah, I mean, going back into that, I have been paying attention more. Like even besides this, like I don't want to be. You shouldn't really be longing until like we at least reclaim this support here, right? This value area low that I had marked out, at the time, which was right around this level. You want to see that turn support, break and retest higher, but yeah, either that or you need to be looking for very strong RR scalps. But anyways, so yeah, to conclude, yes, the 15th, that was a day. I had two wins that went well, and then two small losses, or one loss and one half loss. Main thing is just self control, like avoiding these losing trades. Like I can avoid these losing trades, and that's where like I'm putting more emphasis on controlling that sort of stuff rather than adding more tools to the system or more indicators and tricks and things like that. Because it really, like, if I can just avoid these types of losing trades, and like my success would go through the roof if I can avoid like certain types of trades that I'm taking that are just like more emotionally based or more impulsive or more rushed, things like that. So I want to go over this day real quick and then just talk about the meat. This is all paper trading, but I only took two losses here today, and then get to the real crux of what I want to be covering today, which is just some more personal reflections and general plans for, getting serious, which in many ways I am very serious, in many ways I'm not. I saw this video on Neil Young, and he was talking about how he had helped this trader go from, not very successful at all to extremely highly profitable within just a few months. And what it came down to was just covering up a few back end simple things that this trader had been missing. He had been getting like checking off almost all the boxes, but there were just a few key things that he was completely missing, and that had a huge effect on his bottom line. And once he had fixed that, it was like this dramatic transformation to the upside. So this was a beautiful day structural wise. I mean, like, holy, right? Like, just a gorgeous. Oh my god. Just a gorgeous head, left shoulder, grabbing all this liquidity on my white controlled buying here. We had the orange controlled buying, and breaking down, breaking lower in the same teal algorithm we had here, selling off just like that. Just gorgeous structure on today. So, look, I came to the like. I guess I can intertwine both my personal analysis as well as the market analysis. Like I came to the market very late today. This is at 12:38. This is 9:38 PST. I woke up late. I saw the market. I saw this moving up. I saw that there could be a potential head giving me this trade. And I had missed my entry here, which is where I planned. And then I jumped in here where my stop would at least have to be above this theoretical left shoulder. And that means I would have been safe, but I moved it here. Why? I wasn't focused. I wasn't prepared. I was rushing through my routine. And I saw the market moving, and I was afraid it was going to move without me, and then I jumped in this. So why did I wake up late? Yesterday, last night, I had a stressful day. I was concluding a stressful, long day. I had worked very hard as well, got in a lot of hours of good study, but also had to deal with some stuff that I wasn't too happy about. And I had a drink, and then I ordered some, junk food. And then I stayed up late. And then I only had one and a half of a beer, but that was enough so that I had a headache, and I was all groggy, and I woke up at 9:30 a.m. And I didn't get to the market until 9:30 a.m. PST, meaning that the market has already been open for 3 hours. And this is just for the work that I'm putting in on a day-to-day basis. Like, treating the actual trading like that just isn't acceptable. It should not be acceptable. It's not responsible, and it's not. It's like, let's say you have a sports car and you're taking care of the hood and the engine and the twin turbo. It has the perfect performance package and you know, leather embroidered, super fancy seats, and everything is perfect, and it's all optimized. And then you put on like, these tires that you bought from like, you know, that you just found at like a dump site, right? Or from Walmart, that are just these like really shitty tires. And that's what I'm doing here, because I'm studying so much. I'm putting in hours and hours a day of focus, and study and review and reflection. And then when at times, when I am trading, I'm waking up, I have a bit of a headache, and I was drinking on a trading day night, and I come to the market, and I finish my routine, and then I'm ready to trade, and then a minute and a half, I miss my entry, and then 30 seconds later I jump in the trade. Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm putting in the work that a lot of people aren't putting in, but then I'm completely dropping the ball on some basic stuff that is essential to my success. And that's a huge problem. Like, in 2024, around this time, I was very, very disciplined, very focused. No staying up late, no drinking, no eating, no nothing, unless it was a Friday or Saturday. And now I'm doing it on like a Wednesday, right? Or a Tuesday. Granted, it's not very often, but I still do it. And I also don't have the same regimen as I used to. Like, I would wake up consistently at the same time, on those market days. Just like someone with a normal 9 to 5, with a normal job. Like, how can I expect to be making big money like Eric does, and big money like I see people making, or Goose and things like that, or Brian, and not be following some sort of regimen or schedule, just like you would at a normal job? Like, what makes me think that I'm good enough that I can just wake up, throw in a trade, and then be done? Like, I'm not there yet. Yes, I know, like, I do know some traders that are like that. These are people with like 20, 30 years of experience. And I'm not that. I still have to pay my dues. It's like music, with flute. Like now I can just go and I can go to a rehearsal, and I can BS my way through the whole piece and play it without any issue. But it was thousands of hours of practice over 10 years of me playing that instrument seriously before I was even able to, get remotely close to that level. So, look, if I want to do this and I want to get those payouts, I want to make serious money, I want to make the money that I see people doing, then, and even, when you compare it to like a doctor or a lawyer, like, they have to show up on time. I have to be showing up on time. And if I don't, then I'm going to get fired, or I'm going to pay the price. And like today, I paid the price with this stupid loss that was completely unnecessary and unavoidable. So yes, like, if I would have entered here, which was my original plan, I probably could have exited around here. That's like around 1.5 R. And it would have been fine. I would have moved on with my life. But the point is that these sorts of trades, this type of trading, it's not just that I went to the market and I took this impulsive rush trade where I'd missed my entry, and that's the issue. No, it's like, what led to that? What were the series of actions that put me in that position where I did that? It's my fault. I made those actions. It was me staying up late. It was me having a drink on a weekday. And it was me coming to the market at 3 hours after it closed, or 3 hours after it had opened, and putting a trade a minute and a half after I see the charts. I believe it was here when I saw the move, and I was still going through my routine. Like, I had looked at the market for like 10 seconds, and then I'm in a trade right here. Like, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, or if the trade was a winner or a loser. Like, that's still stupid. And that sort of behavior is not going to, lead to long-term consistent profitability, or any sort of like, it's just not professional. It's not professional. Like, again, bringing back to the comparison of like a professional trader or a lawyer, or a doctor, or someone who works for a bank. They follow a regimen. I, as a retail trader, like, yes, I have freedom, but I have, in many ways, I have to be even more disciplined, even more strict than them. Because what I'm trying to do, is a lot harder in the sense that I don't have that, you know, I don't have a company or a, you know, there's no corporation or group of people that I'm working with or for to kind of enforce that sense of discipline and regimen into my day-to-day work. So yeah, I mean, look, if I want, I'm in this position now. Like I feel, yeah, my trading has gotten a lot better since this year. Like in the past 4 months, I feel like my trading has improved a lot, both from like a mental standpoint and also how I'm reading charts. But there's just like these small things. They're not okay. They're not small. I don't want to like belittle, you know, the actions of getting up on time and being, you know, disciplined, but they're easy fixes. You know, if I can go and study 8 hours a day, I can do that, and I can still go and enjoy my weekends and do whatever I want to do on a Friday night. You know, but I have to work. Um, yeah, I really like looking back on these past 4 months. Like, it has been an immense period of growth for me because I went and I tried out all these different things. Because I went and I had these conversations with a lot of very high level traders who, you know, told me some things that put a lot of my own trading and my own experiences into great perspective. Um, and that shaped how I view the markets today in a very different lens. Um, So, yeah, I feel like I am the closest I've been, but there's these small little back end things that I'm just throwing out the window and not caring about nearly as much as I should be. Um, yeah, I mean, if I can get rid of these sorts of trades, um, again with this was emotional. Like, you know, there's just simple fixes for this, and also, you know, getting to a point where with my runners, I'm able to manage these moves or manage a move like that. Um, that's the game changer. That's the game changer for me. That brings me from like a teetering, tottering trader to like, all right, now we're making like money. Now I'm consistently profitable. You know, and it's that's what's going to make the change. Not how do I you know how do I learn the market profile and rotations and volume profile and you know all this stuff that right now isn't what I need. It's not bringing me. It's not going to be the fix. So yeah, um, that was my rant there. And even this, I saw this. This goes above. We continue higher, but you're right at this white algo support or resistance, and you want to see at least a reclaim of these supports here. But this is just a ridiculous trading range, and I'm glad I set out. You know, this is all resistance. This is just choppy as hell. But anyways, to end the day and my rant here, we have this algo here, and I'm happy with this trade. We had this beautiful 3 touches. Place this here. We have resistance right at the top, and a short here. I'm okay with that trade. Um, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. This is my trend continuation trade. However, we did end up, and then after this second loss, I went to paper. I had this channel here, where I posted it down here, and we did break here, but I managed to stay out because there was a liquidity level right here on Bookmap, and we never broke through it. So watching that actually did help quite a bit. We broke higher. This formed the head. This is your left shoulder. Gorgeous freaking structure right here with this yellow. There it is. Right here. Head, left shoulder, and liquidity grab right here. And then we had like some large seller delta, and then we broke lower. Lots of sellers hitting the tape. Stop. My stop was above here, and that just moved nicely. And again, this is my trend continuation pivots here and here. Push it to the top. See that we bump right into that resistance right here. Let's say I took that and I'm like, something like this of the sort. That would have been very, very nice to the downside. Yeah, so lots of opportunities today. This is that trend continuation, right? Post. Put that pivot right here. I have it touched there. Hold on, let me make that a little clearer. Yeah, and that's that move. So we have this channel here, short at the top of the channel. I get my like 1.5 R right there, and then I call it a day. Let's see what happened with here. But yeah, anyways, things I did good today. My rules, very, very important. This would have been a good like 10-minute Loto trade, I guess, grabbing this liquidity and short covering. Sorry, what was I gonna say? Jesus, what was I gonna say? Uh, yes. Final thoughts. Just being in a position where I am more focused, more in tune with what I need to be doing, following that schedule, that regimen, and I'm confident my profits will come. And good thing I did today. Yes, I do have this rule. After 2 losses, it doesn't matter if it's 1 loss on each account. It doesn't matter if it's 2 losses on 1 account. After 2 losses, I am not reading the market well. I need to stop trading for the day. And this is something I absolutely have to follow strictly. 2 losses, doesn't matter if it's 1 on 1 account or on both accounts, you call it a day and you get out of there and you stop and you go to paper or you study. So I'm happy I did that. Anyways, that concludes today's video. Thank you very much for listening.